Hey guys, this is P.M.R.Bonez88, and today is a very gloomy and cloudy day, and plus it's like, it was sunny just for a few minutes ago, and now it looks like the clouds is coming back. It's gonna rain soon, but at least I gave myself gave myself a little light. But anyways, today for my next superhero movie review that I'll be talking about today is Iron Man, starring Robert Downey Jr., Gwyneth Paltrow, Terrence Howard, and Jeff Bridges. And also the director Jon Favreau, who directed this film, and he also played as one of Tony Stark's bodyguard named Happy Hogan. So he directed and acted this film at the same time. Now, I don't really read the comics of Iron Man. I kind of do know him, but I know him like through the cartoon series that I used to watch when I was a kid, which is started like in the early mid-90s through the late 90s. But this film is all about like talking about his origins, like talking about how he became Iron Man, and this film like flowing how he became Iron Man like step by step, and that's what director Jon Favreau decided to like make this film talking all about him and based off on the comic books as well. So it starts out where Tony Stark's he's like riding with the armies until he gets trapped or being ambushed by terrorists. But in the beginning, like after the title starts, they talk about, just a little background, like how this all happened, where did it all begin, and tells a little story of Tony Stark where he like started the Stark industry. In the beginning, his father started the Stark industry, and along with his faithful partner named Hamadaya, which played by Jeff Bridges. But at the age of 21, Tony came back and decided to continue on his father's work and working with Hamadaya to create all these advanced and smart weapons. When Tony gets captured, he gets shot, like bazooka or the torpedo like hits down the ground and then explodes almost died, but somehow they gave him surgery, and that's how he got the power core inside his chest. So when the terrorists offered him or asked him to build these smart weapons for them, Tony says no and refuses to make them. So what they do, they however torture him until he says yes. In a smart, like sneaky way, he decides, says, fine, I'll do it, I'll build those weapons for you. But instead, he decides to make a suit to plan to escape. So he builds this armor in scraps. So by the time he finished it up, the whole suit, like he made them into like different scrap metals, like different pieces of metals, or he takes out all these different weapons, like all the weapons he used, and creates them like takes all the metal or different plates out of it just to create a suit in scratch. I mean, how will you imagine like making all these different kinds of scrap? Like you could find any kind of a scrap metal or an empty can, like make it into a high indestructible metal, and you can find this, like all this you can find anywhere in the cave. So by the time he finished it up, he decides to plan to escape. When he gets out of the cave, he destroys all the weapons and flies away before he got killed from the explosive. And that's how his friend Colonel or General James Rose, or I think in the first one he was a colonel, and then I think into the third one he was, I think, a general now, or captain. No, third one he was the captain, and the first one he was a colonel. So anyways, when Tony Stark finally gets home, he realizes now and decides what he did was wrong, and he should be careful like taking all these weapons, giving it to the people in the wrong hands. So now what he realizes and understands that he doesn't want to be part of the Stark's industry. So therefore he's out of it, and he makes his own project, his own industry. So after when he made the Mark 1 suit, it was time for him to like give himself an upgrade and make a new and improved suit, the Mark 2. That was like a test. So he takes a test for a flight, like just to see how it works and see how will it go before he goes back and destroys all the weapons. Tony Stark finally makes the Mark 3 the actual Iron Man suit with the red and yellow, or should I say put a little hot rod color in it. He finally goes back and helps all the people that were going to get captured from those soldiers, the military war-torn that captured Tony Stark before. He finally goes back and destroys all the weapons that were given out from them, and finally like saves the people back in Afghanistan. And suddenly, when he finally destroys all the weapons The best scene ever was the jet scene. Like, it was the dogfight, and Iron Man like dodges all the torpedoes and all the effects and the graphics and the flying techniques. It was perfect. It was like so phenomenal. I was like really kind of dying just to see Iron Man in live action, and I was really surprised that Robert Downey Jr. finally picked the role to be Tony Stark and Iron Man. Because when he's like Tony Stark, and sometimes when he's all drunk and he's all comedian, sometimes it makes him like all how it feels to be Tony Stark, and he does that perfect great role throughout all his films in the previous movies and also from his other movies like Sherlock Holmes, and he was also in the 1985 movie Weird Science. It was a great story, and just to see this origin story of the background, how he became Iron Man with all the weapons and all the suits and all the action and the adventures. It's just seeing Iron Man in action, all of the 3D CGI graphics, and getting to see him like in the suit, but it was like a real actual suit. But when he like puts it on, there are like some scenes that it's like the real suit, but some of them, most of they were all CGI sometimes. But now getting on to the big action scene where Hamadaya is very interesting. How did Tony Stark made this weapon, made the suits, and he decides to make his own suit. So he took the original suit that he got from the cave, the Mark 1, especially during when Hamadaya like builds this big suit. It's similar to the Mark 1, but instead it is bigger, it's better, and it is really a badass suit. Talk about a big heavy metal suit, I would say. Especially with the music going on, with the music theme of Iron Man played by Black Sabbath. Hearing this music played by Black Sabbath that sang the song of Iron Man during the 70s, but playing that in that movie, playing like the music of it at the end of the movie, it fitted him. It actually fit, and I really enjoy that music, and I also want to get that music off on iTunes. There's this one, however, interesting scene where Rhodey looks at the Mark II suits and realizes to give him the idea that he will be War Machine, but instead he didn't take the suit, he just goes being himself. So he says, and I quote, "Next time, baby." I was really excited just to imagine what he'd be like in that suit and being as War Machine. But since he didn't return for the second film, kind of disappointed me that he didn't return. But I was really happy seeing like the other character, Don Cheadle, which he was in Iron Man 2 and 3. So the battle scene, the action scene between Iron Man and Hamadaya, aka Ironmonger, seeing the upgrades that he made, including when Stark upgraded his suit. The best scene ever, which goes up in the sky and tries to take him up into space, and due to the coolness and the temperature dropping down, so when you go higher, which is the icing problem, if you go up into space, and if you realize you go up in space, and think of it as like you're in the jet and you try to go up into space, see how far or high up you can get without the icing problem, and that's what he did. But what didn't make sense, how come his suit, Iron Man's suit, Tony Stark's suit, didn't ice up like what he did the last time when he took the flight test of Mark II? It like froze up real quick. But for the Mark III, it didn't froze up real quick. I guess, of course, well, due to his upgrades and without having icing problems, that was the biggest mistake that Hamadaya made, because he didn't get the icing problem in his suit. So his froze up real quick. And after the big final blow, the big final showdown between those two, he told Pepper Potts, played by Gwyneth Paltrow, to go up in the machine, and in order just to stop him, like zap him off so he could be like not totally destroyed, but knock him out real bad. But as always, he goes down to the machine and simply blows up. So after done talking about this film, and this film really interested me, I was really happy to see this movie, and now I'll be thinking of getting all the comic books, getting all the comic issues. I'll be thinking of getting the graphic novels. It's easier getting the graphic novels than getting each in different comic strips in every issue. So just to rate this film, I have to give it 90 out of 100. It's really interesting. The action scenes were great. The storyline was perfect. And I do own this movie on DVD and Blu-ray. So the next time for my next superhero movie review that I'll be talking about next week is The Hulk. And this is P.M.R.Bonez88 signing off and saying is, peace!